Hi, and welcome back to the Renew You Students YouTube channel. We've been going through the book of Mark in order to be able to see who Jesus is and what that means to us. And what we have touched upon is this, we're getting to the culmination of what Jesus' ministry and life is through the book of Mark and how he has been first declared himself as the Messiah, or has confirmed that to his disciples. He has declared what is going to be his ultimate sacrifice for them, and how people just couldn't believe it. He has come into Jerusalem, where people praised him and declared him essentially like king as he was going in. He fought people inside of the temple, kicked out those who were, selling and taking space away from those who wanted to come worship at the temple, and even debated with people over multiple questions about like what's the most important commandment. All of these different things that just shows us about the authority of Jesus, how his message is just flips everything upside down. So now we're going to talk about a very small point that is interesting to see within this whole building up that we see through the story.
So I think it's particularly interesting, this story, because usually stories get told because something different has kind of happened and people want to point out this different thing that's happened. I mean, think about every story you have told in your life to either your friends or your family. Usually you tell them this story because something was different about it. It was just, maybe it was out of the ordinary, or somebody got really angry, or something like that. And so this story gets told. It's a very short story, but it gets told because it's something different. And so Jesus and his disciples are sitting, I believe it's in the temple, and they're right across from this box. They called it a treasury, where people would come in throughout the week and they would put in their money for God. And now this is a great thing because Moses had instructed the people to give a tithe to God, because that's what God had asked for. He said, just give me a portion of your money back. So all these people were coming in and they were just dropping off their money for God, which is absolutely amazing. But Jesus is sitting there and he's watching them. And he's watching them put their money in. And then at one point, this one little old lady comes in and she puts in her money. And Jesus grabs his disciples. He's like, hey, did you see that one? She just gave more than anybody else who came in today, because she's a widow and she doesn't have a whole lot of money, and she gave everything that she had. Now, this everything that she had was maybe like 2 pennies total. And Jesus is pointing out to his disciples that she gave more than everybody else. Even though these rich people had come in and they were giving like maybe $100 bills, $200 bills, and they were putting all of this money in the box. And Jesus takes the time to point out the fact that this lady, she may have only put in 2 pennies, but she has just given everything. And he's excited about this.
Yeah, it's quite bizarre, because in this moment, right, there's so many people that are giving so much, or at least it looks so much, but for them, it's not that much. They give from what they already have, that they get whatever they spare. But what Jesus is looking for, and this is what God is looking for in us, is not really about like that dollar amount, or if it's even dollars. It's really how much we sacrifice to give to God. Where this widow just didn't have much, but out of what little she had, she essentially gave it all. And that has so much implications in what is happening with Jesus and what is happening in our own lives, in which we may not be rich, we may not have much money, but it's when we sacrifice to God, he's just pleased and excited and amazed about what that means. because it means that we're giving importance to God in our lives. We are showing and saying and telling that is what's worth it to me. It's not really the money that we have, but that God is more worth it to us, and we should be excited to be able to give that way.
And so Jesus kind of continues kind of talking about this sacrifice thing even more and more as he gets to sacrificing his own life. And it's a really interesting topic. And so we'll talk more about this in our next video, about a little bit more of sacrifice. And so we will see you then.
See you.